recording? You recording and then you'll splice, or you want to keep it clean?
No, I'll record and then I'll edit it. I'll
Okay,
probably
very
from
good.
when I start. I mean, we'll edit this beginning out and then cut on
Okay.
the on either end. So okay, the audio's good.
Are you using call recorder?
I am. Is that what you use?
Yes, I use that too, but the one thing I haven't figured out is how to control the audio levels.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was just checking to make sure. I mean, they're showing good, but even if they weren't good, I don't know that I'd be able to do a whole lot about it.
Right.
So, all right, well, let's get started. Hey, everybody, I'm here with DJ Chuang, and we are talking social media. And this is day one of the Social Media Guide for Ministry virtual book tour. And DJ, I appreciate it so much you joining us.
Hey, I'm thrilled to be here and leading off.
Great. Well, if you don't know DJ, you can read about him online. He is all over the place, and just search him on every network. But you can go to djchong.com. You can go to socialmediachurch.net, where he leads the weekly podcast or conversations with church leaders about social media, and really a student of the church and a student of technology and specifically social media. So we appreciate you being here and sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you, Nils, the social media pastor.
Well, let's jump right in to social media. What in your studies and what you've watched of churches and ministries over the years in recent years, what are the trends that you're seeing when it comes to social media, and really the trends specifically of churches that you see using social media well?
Well, I started tracking the trend of internet campuses and online churches back in 2007. I had found 5 at that time. Now we are kicking off the year 2013. Now there's over 105 churches that are doing some form of internet campus. And by that, I mean live stream plus something else. So there's certainly more churches that are just doing a live stream of their worship services. And what internet campuses do is facilitate through social media, through a chat room, through other interactive elements, prayer forms, note-taking, and a variety of other things based on the church philosophy of ministry and culture, how they want to facilitate interaction online. And I see that as a growing trend and the leading edge of how to use social media and online tools to facilitate spiritual growth.
Yeah. So when it comes to what social network to use, and that's a question I often hear: should I just do Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram? Where do we start, and what do you recommend, and what do you see? What networks? I mean, you really can't do everything, can you? Or what should they do?
Well, you don't want to be doing everything just from the start. I think you want to start with one and make sure you have a successful engagement with one network before you start the second. And the second principle is go where the fish are,
Yeah.
as we're fishers of men and women. Um, the largest number of people overall are on Facebook. They exceeded over 1 billion,
1 billion.
billion with a B,
Yeah.
in October of 2012. So just from a random sampling, you're probably going to have most people on Facebook that you can engage with. Second is now Google Plus.
Hmm.
That just happened this week as we're talking. And
Interesting.
third is Twitter in terms of active users.
Hmm.
Now, the thing is, Christians are not there on Google Plus. So unless you want to be on Google Plus trying to connect with people around their areas of passion, which is not about faith, that's a mission field. But just by the numbers, Facebook would be kind of the first place you might want to start. The second would be Twitter.
Interesting. Well, that's big news on Google Plus. I wasn't aware that they had grown so significantly to surpassing Twitter. So, are you where do you spend your time when you get on social media?
My bias is towards Twitter and then Facebook. And
Okay.
then I use 4 or 5 other networks as well because I am about connecting with people wherever they're at.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I do personally, because I'm a networker and a connector, is in my address book, I actually make a little note on what people's preferred channel is.
Hmm.
So some people will respond to a voicemail much more quickly than they would a Twitter tweet on Twitter or
Yeah.
a Facebook message, but some people will respond better on Instagram or on Google Plus. And so I just make a note of that so I can reach people and get meet them where they are rather than my own preference. But the reason I prefer Twitter is Twitter is an open conversation. It's like an open chat room and you're talking with the world instantly. Whereas Facebook, you're more confined to just the people you know and the people that you confirm friendships with.
Okay.
Although you could be having conversations on Facebook pages, but that's really not where that kind of engagement happens.
Yeah. Yeah. What when it comes to churches, and so as many as you have seen do it well, I'm sure you've seen some not doing it well, probably quite a few. What are some of the big mistakes that you see churches making when it comes to social media?
Oh boy, that's a sensitive question. I was gonna punt and say the biggest mistake is not using it,
Yeah, that's a good one.
and a majority of churches are still, not sure what to do.
Yeah,
It can get out of hand very quickly. So
yeah,
I understand some of the fears and concerns, and it can be a time suck. So if you don't manage your time very well, it can eat up 24 hours.
yeah,
If you want to do social media, you never keep up because the stream of tweets and Facebook updates is constantly flowing.
yeah, yeah.
And that's why your book is so valuable because I just took a quick look at a preview edition, and I love the layout and the clarity you've provided in walking people through. And thanks for the mention as well.
I appreciate it, DJ. What would you say are the biggest barriers to entry with social media? So, and I'm seeing the same thing, and I feel like a lot of churches are just now saying, okay, maybe we need to take this seriously, but they overthink it. Maybe what are they overthinking, and how do they overcome those barriers?
I think what's hard for churches is because social networking and social media is such an open platform, and churches tend to do better when things are in a box and contained.
Yeah,
But the concept of social media is just so vast, and there's so many options, and there's so many different ways of doing it. There's
yeah,
not a prescribed right and wrong.
yeah,
And so that means there's no rules. And there's something about our faith that tends to be about rules or doctrines or systems. And so it's really hard to jump into something when the rules are not real clear.
yeah,
So I think that's a mental block
yeah,
for churches to jump in.
yeah,
And then a second hurdle is a perception issue that social media could be used for very narcissistic
yeah.
or controversial things.
Right.
And that's true, you could use it that way. But at the same time, you could use it for very powerful spiritual reasons as well. And so if churches are not online telling their story, they've given up their opportunity to be a voice of Christ. And
Yeah.
they're allowing the unsavory things to happen.
Yeah.
And so we need to be a light in the darkness rather than hiding our light under a bushel. I think
Oh, that's
in
good.
the letters in the Bible.
That's a good word. What so when a church leader overcomes that mindset and begins to say, okay, I'm ready to jump into social media, where do they begin? What are the maybe 1, 2, 3, or is there even a 1, 2, 3 process of where to begin once you make that commitment to move forward?
Well, the 1, 2, 3, simply speaking, pick a network where your people are at.
Yeah.
So connect with your church members and your congregation, and just start those conversations and friend requests and follow each other if they're on Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah.
And just open that conversation. Start with 15 minutes a day. That way you manage that time and don't feel overwhelmed by that.
Yeah.
And go beyond wishing people happy birthday. And you can
Yeah.
ask them for a prayer, ask them about how the sermon was for them, get involved in their lives by following and responding to their personal updates.
Yeah.
So those are some real easy steps.
Yeah.
But if you want to commit a little more time and maybe move towards half an hour to an hour a day, then you really need to think more strategically about what kind of content you're going to generate and share online to facilitate engagement and conversation.
Yeah. That's good.
And that's where a guide like what you're putting together, and there's some other good social media beginner guides to walk you through more of the strategic process on how to leverage valuable content that people can engage and share.
That's a good word. And I think people often forget that social media is social and they just want to blast content, but remember that they're creating a conversation. That's a big deal when it comes to social media. And I didn't
Yeah,
include.
the
Go ahead.
principle here with social media is not about the technology. Social
Yeah.
media is about people.
Right. Right.
And I think making that mental shift helps you to see the value of social media.
That's good. That's good. And I didn't include this question in my notes I sent you in advance, but I would love for you and just to hear this from you. What do you see trends down the road? Maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the road when it comes to social media and specifically in the church. Where do you see things going?
Oh, you've got to be giving 3 to 5 years down the road. There's technology that isn't even 3 years old. We have no idea what's going to come down the road. But right now, probably the technology that's just beginning to get mainstream adoption is smartphones
Yeah.
and tablets, and so software and apps are just beginning to develop to really exploit the opportunity we have for geolocation, kind of communication,
Yeah.
real-time communication,
Yeah.
and possibly content that will, well, yeah, I really don't know right off.
Yeah.
It's yet to be seen.
Yeah.
The stereotype is churches are still a little bit behind the curve in terms of how we use social media versus how the people who are very active on social media are using it.
Yeah.
So one example would be just the open source concept in the tech world, where computer programmers and developers are really collaborating on projects. We don't yet see that in the church world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's a huge untapped opportunity and potential that churches would be working with each other on shared projects. I think technology can facilitate that tremendously, and I would love to see that in the next 3 to 5 years.
Awesome. Well, it's going to be exciting, and we don't know what's ahead, but that's definitely some forward thinking and something for us to all think about. DJ, I appreciate so much your friendship and the work you're doing for the kingdom and your heart for ministry and ministry leaders. Thanks for taking this time and investing in those that are joining us in this conversation.
Always great connecting with you, Nils. Thank you.
Thanks, DJ.